Welcome to UserAndI, the channel where I explore all things UX and UI design. And today we're going to be exploring how you can communicate relationship between elements using margin. So I think the easiest way to explain this, as always, is with an example. So I'm going to create a few buttons. Let's go with home. And what I'll do is to speed things up, I'm actually going to make this a component. I'm going to group it, add an auto layout, give it a bit of padding. I'll give it a background as well. That's a bit visually offensive, so I will go with something a bit more light. And I'll give that white text. I'm a big fan of a rounded edge. And for no reason at all, but for stylistic purposes, for my benefit, I'm going to make that light and take down the font size of that. I'm also going to bring down the padding to 0 there, and I'll make it a bit bigger on the other side. Then what I'm going to do is hit K, shortcut for the scale tool, and as we'll see, we'll open up here. I'm going to scale that down a little bit just so we can fit more on the screen. Then I'm going to make that a component and hit button. I'm going to drag it down off the screen. Then I'm going to drag a copy back in just to make sure that we're not amending the master copy, we're amending the copy. And we can tell that by the component icon there being 4 fielding dots, and we can see that the one diamond shape here is an outline. That communicates to us that this is the copy. So what I'll do is that I'll change that to text, and I'm going to now change this to home. And as you can see, when we amended that, the master copy, it affected this one because it's the copy of it, but when we amended this, it didn't affect this. And I'm going to duplicate that 3 times. I'm also going to create a group, hit auto layout, then I'm going to change the alignment to right. I'm going to call this gallery, and I'm going to call this about. Then I'm going to duplicate it one more time, and I'm going to call this login. So what we have here is 4 buttons. They're quite close together. There's good padding on each of them because we've set that in our master component here, but there's no margin between them. So what I'm going to do is, using this area here, I'm going to increase the margin by 50. So what we see here are 4 buttons that are all related. There's no difference, there's no importance, we don't want to highlight anything. But using margin, what we can do here, we can hover over we can select the first 3, and we can create another group within our frame. And if we hit auto layout there, we still maintain our margin, but if we go to the outer group and if we increase our margin, what we immediately start to see is that a relationship starts to take place. We can see that home, gallery and about are related. They are grouped in some way. They're elements that we want to communicate to the user that, hey, these live in the same place, these are related fields. And then what we see with login is that we are now separating that, immediately drawing the user to the separated item. Now, if I was a user, I would see, oh, login is completely of a different value than home, gallery and about. We see this on several websites. What we also often see is they would have login there, they'd have sign up here, and they'd also create a group of these. And if we bump that down to 50, we can see immediately that we have, in fact, I will make this smaller. What we see immediately is that we have relationship. These buttons are things used to sign up or to log in. That's all they are, they're account buttons. And these are general site buttons. You got to find more, you go back to the home, and then you see the gallery if you want. But this is how powerful margin is when it comes to alignment. It's not just used for spacing, you can also use it to communicate relationship between elements. So in your next design, have a look at how you can use margin to communicate relationship. Could you separate a few buttons? Could you group a few elements in a UI card, for example? Let me know how you use it in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.